Look at that. You see that? It actually looks like it's really snowing inside that small tiny earring. Right, we are back and we are going to be making some really cool little potion bottle or snow globe earrings. I posted a video on one of my other socials last week and a few people asked for a tutorial on it, so I thought I'd do it. So these are little glass balls. I'll pop the links in the description box below, and these are the tops. We're just going to UV resin. This isn't much of a resin video as such, but we are going to need some UV resin to glue those on afterwards. Right, let's go. So first things first, we need to make these stable so that we can work on them. So I'm just using some tack just to hold them in place. That's it, that will do. Now we just need to make our solution, so I'm just going to pour some water into there. Now this isn't my usual cup of tea. I must admit I don't normally do stuff like this, but it's still fun. And there's lots of other things that you can do with these little balls as well, so I'm going to be showing you some videos. So all I'm going to do now is just use some blue food colouring. You can do this however you like. You don't have to use the colours that I use. And then we're just going to mix that in thoroughly. So to my blue water, I'm just going to add some white mica powder. Now you can add too much, so just little by little and stir it and see. And I'm going to also go in with a little bit of the seashell mica powder, which hopefully will give it a shimmer. So all we need to do now is just stir that up and see what the effect is like. And the best way to see is through the side of the cup, but I think I could get away with adding a little bit more mica powder. And I'm going to add a small scoop of this stuff. It's diamond white. It's a slightly bigger flake, so I'm hoping it will give us more of a snow effect. And in it goes. Again, you could do this however you like. Play around with different colours and see what you get. And there you go. Much better effect there. What we need to do now is put the solution into the bottles. I'm using a pipette, so much easier. But the key to this is make sure that you stir the solution really thoroughly before sucking it up, because that mica is going to sink pretty quickly in the water, and if that does, then you're going to be putting more mica into your bottles than what you want. So we're just going to fill both of these right to the top. Again, stir in that mixture before squeezing into my pipette. All I need to do now is just thoroughly dry around the outside of the top of the bottles, otherwise the UV resin isn't going to bond. Now for the capping, some people in the comments of my other video on the other platform, which I can't mention on here, they were trying to seal the bottles with the UV resin over the holes, which isn't going to work. It's just going to fall inwards. The key to this is applying the UV resin to the actual metal lid. Just place that on the glass. Now most of the mica would have settled by now. Just apply a little bit of pressure and then cure that for a good few minutes. And now I'm just angling my light away from myself and shining it through the sides. You could also, if you're careful, wait for all of the pigments to settle fully and then kind of place it carefully over the light to make sure that you're getting underneath that cup, because the UV light isn't going to penetrate through that metal. Or if you've got a lamp like mine, just fold the legs inwards and it's kind of blasting it from all directions. I have got a new one, don't worry about that. Okay, so those are now bonded on. I mean, I'd suggest if you're going to be wearing them to get dressed before you put them in. I mean, they're not gonna cope with lots of stress, but they're not going anywhere. So just be careful with it catching materials or things like that, because you don't want them falling off. All I'm going to do now is just apply a jump ring to each one, just feeding that through, and then I have some earring hoops. Get that on. Again, I know it would be much easier if I took my gloves off, but the thing is, I like to keep my gloves for as long as I can. So if I keep taking them off and putting them back on again, it's just reducing the amount of times that I can wear them. I hate the waste. I prefer to just keep them on and struggle, because I do get there in the end, as you can see. So this was the one that I posted, and what I did with this one, it went a little bit wrong. It's not brilliant. You can barely see it at the moment in this light. Is I added a small ball bearing inside the bottle, just fit through the hole. So what happens is, as you're wearing it, as it dangles, the ball bearing moves in the bottom of the glass bottle, and it creates the movement inside the piece. But the trouble is, you can occasionally see that ball bearing. Plus, you can hear it. Listen. And that would be quite annoying, quite annoying in your ears if you're wearing that. So what you could do is, if you followed the shampoo video where I dropped UV resin in the shampoo, you could create small UV resin bearings and put those in to reduce the noise. And that would then, as they're swinging, it would disturb the potion or the snow, whatever you want to call it. I'm a bit late for Halloween with these, so I'm going to have to make them Christmas themed. But it really does make a massive difference having something inside to constantly move the liquids and the micas around. It definitely does help. So food for thought. So I'm just letting these settle so you can see them both settled and stirring, but you can see the bigger flakes of mica powder that I added look like little, tiny little snowflakes glistening in the light and settling down. So I wanted to show you this really cool illusion that I just realised. I was trying to film a hyperlapse, but look at the way that it's magnifying some of the powders. It actually looks like it's really snowing inside. If you pay attention, and you'll see it. It's absolutely mental. You can tell I'm from Essex in the UK, can't you? Look at that. You see that? It actually looks like it's really snowing inside that small, tiny earring. That is absolutely crazy. I could watch that. I could watch that for hours. So, there it is settled. As always, give the video a thumbs up, drop me a comment. If you haven't subbed, hit that button for me. It is free. Let's give it a whirl. Look at that. The light's not the best. Let me try and get better light. Is that any better? There we go. You can see it a bit better now. Right, I will see you for the next one. Have a little play around with it. But I do think the idea of having the bearings, obviously the clear bearings that I mentioned, because you can see it and it's just annoying and it's quite heavy. But as the earring would swing, it would move the potion or snow, whatever you want to call it, around. Right, I will see you for the next one. Dingle dangly balls. Bye for now.